So we were again at the Ted Cruz event right before the Nevada caucus happened in Summerlin, Las Vegas, which is about 15 minutes northwest of the Strip in Las Vegas. And this gentleman, now I was talking to this guy, again, another salt of the earth type of a guy, as far as I could tell. It reminded me, he felt very familiar to me. He seemed like a warm guy, a real American. And I always asked him about healthcare, asked him about Obamacare, and here's what he had to say.
Thoughts about that are? Well, I think repealing Obamacare and replacing it with something that really works is what he's talking about. It's with opening the states' borders so insurance can be sold across state lines. That's going to make it a lot more better for people. Of the 15 to
So we all know that opening up so they can buy insurance across lines. So if you look into it a little deeper, all that really means is that all the insurance companies will then station themselves in the state that has the least amount of regulations that protect a consumer. So then everybody will headquarter themselves in Rhode Island or someplace, Delaware or someplace like that, where they've repealed all the laws that help control health insurance and to protect the consumer. So that we know that that's just a canard that's been pushed by the healthcare lobby to make people think that will help lower their rates, but it won't. Okay, so, and we hear that repeated a lot. And that's what, you can go to news articles and that's what they say. Well, there's one solution. It's not a solution. That's why you watch this show.
That's going to make it a lot more better for people. Of the 15 to 17 people that signed up for Obamacare outside on the government subsidies, how many are here legally in the United States? They're not reporting that, but there's only about 15 to 17 million signed up, and about 13 million of them are not even U.S. citizens.
So there's, again, a big theme running through whenever I would go to a Republican caucus or something. The big theme is they're afraid illegal immigrants, poor people, who don't deserve it, are getting health care. Or they're getting something that he's paying for. It's coming out of his taxes to go to an immigrant, someone. So I always say, remember, if you ever find yourself being angry at someone lower on the economic ladder than you, pretty good chance you're being manipulated by someone higher on the economic ladder. So we already heard the one talking point right from the insurance lobby that if you let insurance be sold across state lines, that'll lower costs. We know it don't. It'll just screw the consumer more. And now he's upset that, most of the people who got on Obamacare are illegal 13. You heard him say that, illegal immigrants. They're not even citizens. So they're upset that someone is getting something they're not supposed to. There's a sense of fairness inside them that's being violated and that they have to pay for it. But what it really comes down to is they've been manipulated to be angry at the poorest people in the country and the people with no power. And somehow giving them health care is screwing up our country. The people who come here to work, to pick our fruit, to clean our hotel rooms, to cook our food, to watch our kids, those people somehow, if they get to see a doctor when they're sick, that's a screwed up system. So, but of course they don't look at it like that. But I'm telling you, that's what it is. Okay, so he goes on, he uses some statistics here to justify not liking Barack Obama's Obamacare that I'm going to have him repeat it 3 times. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Insurance wasn't the problem. It's controlling the costs, and that's getting rid of the lobbyists from the insurance industry and cleaning them out.
Yeah, so you're saying that there's too much money corrupting?
Yes. Obamacare was nothing but a tax, like the Supreme Court said. And it was to appease the insurance companies. In fact, my insurance rates.
So he's got it like half right. Like Obamacare was like a giveaway to the insurance companies, which it was. It mandated people had to buy something from a private company. It was a windfall for the private insurance companies. It really was. Their stock prices went up. We know that. So he's got it half right. But he doesn't understand that why would a liberal Democrat do something that helps inflate private business? It's because he's a corporate Democrat, but it doesn't. But he thinks it's because he's a liberal. He wants to tax people. So do you see how they get it? I'm sure that's what's being said on the Mark Levin show, the Rush Limbaugh show, the Sean Hannity show, Bill O'Reilly. That's what they're saying. Oh, it's just a tax instead of well, look, this is a right-wing healthcare plan. The Heritage Foundation, we came up with this because we don't want to give people Medicare for all. So we came up with this private insurance system that screws everybody. And Barack Obama is actually building on that. So again, it's like, and I'm not to disparage this guy. right? This guy is just a representative of Ted Cruz voters of half the country, I would say, even maybe even more. So no diss to this guy personally. I like this guy actually personally. So here he starts talking about his own insurance rate premiums increase, kind of comes out of nowhere. But watch the mental gymnastics he does to twist it into being Obamacare's fault.
Acts like the Supreme Court said, and it was to appease the insurance companies. In fact, my insurance rates went up 30% 2 years in a row before Obamacare was approved. My premiums from my company.
Okay, so did you catch what he said? I'm going to ask him to clarify it again. He said before Obamacare, his insurance premium rates went up 30% for 2 years before Obamacare. So to me, I'm thinking in my head as he's saying this, oh, so you would be happy about Obamacare then, right? Well, let's see what happens.
And that's before Obamacare or after?
Before Obamacare was. The insurance companies were already preparing for it to pass.
So after...
They padded their profits before it even passed.
Oh, but after it passed, it hasn't gone up. They preloaded it?
It's gone up a little bit, but not as much. But they preloaded 60 points on me 2 years in a row, 30 points each year.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, I get it now. This is totally upside down. And so what he's saying is, look, the insurance companies, when there was no Obamacare regulation, could jack up your rates 30% a year, which they did. And now after Obamacare, he says, oh, it hasn't really gone up much. He doesn't look at it like, wow, look at how crazy and unregulated it was. They could jack up my rates 30% a year. And I couldn't do anything about it. But here, then they pass Obama, and he just flips that logic on its head. It says, because of Obamacare, they screwed me before it. So that's like, to me, it's almost like saying, this guy was beating me up, so I called the cops. And then when he heard the sirens, he started beating me extra hard. Goddamn cops. I got beat up because of those cops. So I don't know if that's the best analogy, but that's pretty good. He has more to say. Let's hear it.
So you're saying the insurance companies saw Obamacare coming, they knew it was going to pass, and they wouldn't be able to jack up your rates anymore, so they pre-jacked them.
Right. Absolutely. My insurance premium from, 2008, whatever it was, went up 30 points more out of my paycheck. The next year, another 30% on that 30%.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all before Obamacare. So remember, then we passed Obamacare to try to stop some of that crazy stuff. There really aren't that many cost controls in Obamacare, which is a big flaw anyway. Another big flaw is most of the money still goes to private companies, and there's a lot of overhead that we don't need, and Medicare is more efficient and all that stuff. But to say, okay, let's go. He's got some more to say.
And what do you think about the idea that the Democrats have of expanding Medicare to cover people?
Medicare is there for a reason, and it's for the aged and elderly. It's not just to cover everybody per se.
Yeah, it's like not everybody. I mean, if you're old, we'll take care of you if you get sick. But if you're younger, go pound sand. Why? I don't understand. Okay, here we go.
If there is a solution to provide like unemployment insurance, like health insurance if you're unemployed or you're hurt with certain stipulations, that might be something that would be considered. But just why don't we just open the gates and just give everybody in the world a free ticket to paradise? You have to build a culture, you have to build loyalty to the United States, and you have to be able to do it a little at a time. If the world would lift up and do more for their own citizens and reinvest in themselves, everything from the Middle East to the cartels and down south, and reinvest industry there within themselves, if the own governments would take responsibility, the United States wouldn't have to carry the world.
So I actually, if you look at it from his point of view, I totally get his frustration, right? He's saying, why are we the babysitters of the world? Why does everybody get to send their poor people here and then we have to take care of them, right? So I get what he's saying there. So, but that's just the way he looks at it. I look at it differently. Of course, immigration, we're a nation of immigrants. Immigrants helps our country. And it's hard for me to have a chip on my shoulder against poor people wanting to come here and have a better life, just like everyone else who ever came here and had a better life. And when they come here and they work for us, I think it's okay. We give them health care. They're adding to the economy. It's, we've showed you the studies on the show that states with the most immigrants do better, their economies. So, again, I get what he's saying. So and that's a theme when I would go and talk to Trump voters or Ted Cruz voters or at a Republican caucus. It was that theme of of unfairness. Something's violating their sense of internal fairness. Like he even said, okay, Medicare's there for old people, but if you're young and so if you lose your job for a while, if you get hurt, yeah, we'll take care of you. But which is that underlying all that, but not these lazy pricks who just want to lay around all day. I'm not going to give them health care. Which I understand where that comes from, but if you stop and think, of course we should give everyone health care no matter how lazy they are. But there aren't these groups of lazy people sucking off the system. They're just, who's sucking off the system? We know it here. Bernie Sanders knows it. It's Wall Street sucking off the system. Quantitative easing, $80 billion a month for free. What the hell do you call that? You can send everybody in the country to college for $60 billion. Anyway, we're getting off so let's see. There's a little bit more to this interview with him. And by the way, keep in mind, I like this guy. I want to go have a beer with him afterwards. He's all right. We just need to talk about stuff.
What was it that made you go Cruz instead of Trump or Rubio?
Well, I had originally was listening to Rubio, and I liked what Rubio was saying. But as more and more came out, and the more I listened, and the more I learned, I didn't know anything about Cruz. And then all of a sudden, when I started learning about Cruz, it was like, wow, he's got it. He is not a rhino. Everybody else is a rhino. He has integrity. He will stick to his plan. He is the new Reagan.
That was almost blew my head off. Like, I hear Ted Cruz always call himself the new Reagan. He always compares himself to the new Reagan. But when to hear someone say that back, like he is the new Reagan, like, woo, that was something. But by the way, Reagan wasn't that great. So it's not a big deal. He probably could be just like Reagan. You mean, could he sell arms for hostages? Mm-hmm. Could he run up huge deficits? I think so. Could he bankrupt cities? Mm-hmm. Could he create a bigger homeless problem? I think so. So in that sense, I think Ted Cruz could be the next Ronald Reagan. All right, here we go.
That's amazing. There's one criticism.
I heard here somebody who didn't like Ted Cruz said that he's taken $36 million from 4 super donors. I Googled it. It actually was true. And they said that how could he going to talk for the common man if he's taking that money from these millionaires? Does that bother you?
No, because I think, unfortunately, in today's environment, you need the money to get the word out. If I won the California lottery that they had out there for $350 million, I'd probably give them $10 million just to help support them, and I'd be a common guy for the most part. So I don't think that big money per se is a problem, because he is for the people. He is a constitutionalist. And the bottom line is our Constitution has been trampled on. And the Supreme Court issue right now is critical. Now, we should listen to what Obama has to present. Doesn't mean we have to confirm, we can deny, but give the man the constitutional authority to present. But we need not to confirm if it's some left-wing liberal or nutcase.
Wow, look at that. There's a man who says the president should nominate and do his constitutional duty, and the Republicans should do their duty and vote him down. Good for you. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for talking with us. I appreciate your time.
Take
Okay,
care.
go Cruz. So that was another Cruz voter, 57 years old. The guy sounded totally rational. He really did. He sounded like a nice guy. He sounded like he kind of did research stuff. He did know what he was talking about. Except you and I both know. And Cruz is a maniac.